Hello dear students, I Rasna Lakhotia welcome to you all in the biology class. So dear students, today we will start a new chapter, reproduction, and the topic that we will be starting today is asexual reproduction. Okay, so you all have learned about reproduction in your previous standards also. Like our body has different systems, yes, like circulatory system, excretory system, respiratory system, reproductive system and all. Like apart from reproductive system, like any organ performing or taking part in other system in our body, like if any organ that takes part in digestive system, if that doesn't function properly, what is going to happen? A person may die. Similarly, if any organ that takes part in excretory function or excretory system, if that organ doesn't function properly, what is going to happen? Obviously, a person may die. Okay, but the organ that takes part in reproduction, if that organ may not function properly, then an organism is not going to die. That may be a plant or animal or any other organism, if their organ of reproduction doesn't function properly, the person may not die or that organism may not die. Okay, but so why is this reproduction important? So reproduction is important to increase the population of the species. If reproduction doesn't take place, new offsprings are not going to be developed, are not going to be reproduced, and ultimately what happens? There will be no species left in this universe. So for that reason, reproduction is very important. Okay, so the topic that we will learn today is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction mainly takes part in unicellular organism. Okay, so before that, let's revise what reproduction is. So reproduction is defined as a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones. Young ones are also known as offsprings, okay, and similar to itself. The offspring of an individual is similar to that organism, okay, and the offspring, they grow, they mature, and in turn they produce new offsprings, and this leads to a cycle of birth, growth and death, okay, and reproduction also enables the continuity of the species generation after generation. So if reproduction doesn't take place, there will be no species in this universe. So reproduction, it enables the continuity of the species from generation to generation. So reproduction is of two different types, as you all have studied in your previous standards. So all living organisms, they reproduce, yes. So sexual reproduction occurs when two individuals are involved. Two individuals means a male and a female is involved. That type of reproduction is known as sexual reproduction. And asexual reproduction occurs when a single individual is involved. That means only one parent is required in case of asexual reproduction. So difference in the reproduction in unicellular and multicellular organism. You all know that there is some differences between the process of reproduction in unicellular and multicellular organism. So in unicellular organism, reproduction occurs by the division of entire cell. All that entire cell only gets divided to form a new individual. And the modes of reproduction in unicellular organism is mostly by fission, budding and many more are there. We will be studying in this context. And whereas in multicellular organism, specialized reproductive organs are present, okay. Therefore, they can reproduce by complex reproductive methods such as vegetative propagation, spore formation, etc. And in more complex multicellular organisms such as human beings, plants, okay. So the mode of reproduction is sexual reproduction. So there are different types of asexual reproduction. You can see out here: fission, fragmentation, budding, regeneration, vegetative propagation and spore formation. So these are the different types of asexual reproduction that we will be studying in this class. So first of all, fission. So fission, it occurs in single celled organisms that belongs to the kingdom Protista, okay, and Monera, and it is again further divided into two types, that is binary fission and multiple fission. So what is binary fission? In this case what happens? The single cell, it divides into two halves. First the nucleus divides into two, as you can see in the picture also, especially in case of prokaryotic organisms, the nucleus first divides into two, and once the division of nucleus takes place, the entire cell, the cytoplasm starts dividing, the cell membrane starts dividing, and the entire cell, it divides into two. So from one parent cell, the two different parent organisms are formed. So and it specially takes place in organism like amoeba, okay, and like binary fission, it occurs only in one particular axis, okay. Like for example Leishmania, it is a parasitic flagellated protozoan, so which causes Kala-Azar in humans, okay, and it divides longitudinally. Longitudinally means in this way, okay. I will show you the picture. And Leishmania, it has whip-like flagella, okay, at one end of the cell. So cell division occurs in relation to this flagella. I will be showing you how it occurs. Like this is in case of amoeba, okay. First from the parent cell, the nucleus divides, and then the cytoplasm divides, and from one single parent, two daughter cells, they appear. And this is in case of Leishmania. See, they have a flagella kind of structure. So for this flagella the new flagella, it develops, nucleus divides, and then the whole parent organism divides into two longitudinally, that is in a particular axis. And this is in case of Paramecium. See how the division of nucleus takes place and how a complete parent cell divides into two daughter cells, okay. Next is multiple fission. In this case what happens is a single cell divides into many daughter cells, not only one. In binary fission you saw that one parent cell, it divides into two, two divides into 4, 4 into 16, that way, okay. But in case of multiple fission, one single cell, it divides into many daughter cells simultaneously, that means multiple fission takes place, and this from one many new daughter cells are developed or reproduced, okay. And this kind of multiple fission or types of asexual reproduction specially occurs in an organism known as Plasmodium, okay. Next is fragmentation. From the term fragmentation only, fragment, what do you understand? Yes, a piece of something, yes. So it is a form of asexual reproduction in which an entirely new organism is formed from a fragment of the parent, okay. It occurs in multicellular organisms whose body organization is fairly simple. Like the body organization of such organism needs to be simple in order to reproduce by the process of fragmentation. So it especially takes place in annelids, starfish, fungi, lichens, and some algae such as Spirogyra, okay. And the filaments of Spirogyra upon maturation, what happens? That filament break into small pieces of fragments which grow into new individual. Like from this may be the parent organism, okay. This if it separates into different fragments, a new individual starts developing from these fragments, okay. As like all their body is fairly simple, the organization of the body is simple, that is why this kind of reproduction is possible in such organism. Next process of asexual reproduction is regeneration. So simple organisms such as Hydra, Planaria, okay, they are capable of producing new species new individuals through the process of regeneration. So the process of regeneration involves the formation of new organism from its body parts, okay. Simple organism can utilize this method of reproduction as the entire body is made up of similar kind of cells, okay. Whole body of that organism is made up of similar kind of cells, so in which any part of the body can be formed by growth and development, okay. And so but in case of however in case of complex organism, what happens is the organ system level of organization is different, or you may say it's complex, okay. So all the organ systems of the body work together as an interconnected unit. So they can regenerate their lost body parts such as skin, muscle, blood, etc. Like in case of our body, if you look, like we are humans, so if our skin gets damaged, our skin can be regenerated, or some muscles, if it gets injured, it can be repaired, okay. But whole organism cannot be formed, or if whole part of a body cannot be regenerated again. Only few of the parts like skin, muscles, bloods can be regenerated. But however, they cannot give rise to new individuals through regeneration, okay. It occurs only in simple organisms whose body is made up of similar kind of cells. Okay. So regeneration, like if you see an example, you may have observed at your home, like during summer season there are many lizards on the walls of your houses, yes. So if the tail of a lizard, if you see the tail of a lizard is cast off, or if they don't have tail, so they can generate their tail on its own. Like if the tail of a house lizard is cut, the missing part develops again from the remaining part of the tail. In some cases, regeneration is so advanced that entire multicellular body is reconstructed from a small fragment of tissue, okay. And our body spontaneously loses cells from the surface of the skin and are replaced by new forms. Our skins are also cast off regularly. We don't notice it, but it happens, okay, and new cells keeps on developing, or cells are being formed. So this is all because of the process of regeneration. Regeneration, so how is it defined? So it is defined as a natural ability of living organisms to replace worn out parts, repair or renew damaged or lost parts of the body, or to reconstitute the whole body from a small fragment, okay, during the post-embryonic life of an organism. Post-embryonic means after the birth of an organism. So regeneration is thus also a developmental process that involves growth, morphogenesis and differentiate, okay. You can see here regeneration in planaria. So what happens, see, from the different parts, like if the pieces of flatworm or planaria, if it breaks down, a new part can be regenerated, okay. See, from this also, from this a new part can be regenerated. From this fragment also a new part can be regenerated, okay. Here in case of Hydra and all, see, from the different parts a new organism can be developed. In case of house lizards also, if a tail is cast off, a new organism can be developed from that tail, or else the lizard can develop its new tail. So from the part of their body a new organism can be developed, or the lost part or the lost organ can be developed. Next process of asexual reproduction is budding. So it is seen in certain fungi and multicellular animals, okay. In budding what happens? The parent cell or body gives up the lateral outgrowth. So this is in case of Hydra. Hydra starts developing, this is a parent plant, it starts developing a bird kind of structure, okay, and that bird kind of structure ultimately grows and then they get separated from the parent plant and start growing as an individual, okay. This is in case of yeast. Okay, budding in yeast, what happens, the bird kind of structure develops, that bird it gets separated from the parent plant and then a new organism develops. So at first what happens, a nucleus starts developing, okay, that nucleus it goes to the bird part of the organism, okay. Once the nucleus get divided, whole entire organism that bird it gets cast off and an individual starts developing from there. So budding results in the formation of daughter cells. The size of the daughter cells may be unequal, okay, so that later grow to get the size of an adult, like in case of yeast, fungus, Hydra, okay, and many other multicellular animals also. So in case of Hydra what happens, the daughter Hydra even develops mouth and tentacles develop around the mouth before begin detached from the parent plant. So Hydra it starts developing mouth, tentacles and all before it gets separated from the parent organism. So here is the difference between regeneration and fragmentation. How do we differentiate between regeneration and fragmentation? So both regeneration and fragmentation, as I told, is the type of asexual reproduction, okay. So they both stands for the same meaning, that is growth of an organism from a part of the body, isn't it? But regeneration is mainly associated with animals, okay, and fragmentation is mainly associated with plants. So regeneration is of two types. In the first type, of a part of the body that gets broken off or cut is regenerated, like example lizard, what happens if it casts off their tails to escape predators and then regenerate them, okay. So the other type of regeneration involves the capacity to give rise to an entire organism from the cut part. So it is seen in small vertebrates such as Hydra, Planaria and all, okay. And fragmentation is also a mode of asexual reproduction, as I told you earlier. It is the unintentional cutting of the body of an organism which each grows into different organism, and it is mostly seen in some algae, like from the fragments only a new individual develops. So regeneration it takes place mostly in case of animals, and fragmentation it mostly takes place in plants, okay. So next type of asexual reproduction is spore formation. For example, in Rhizopus, even you have seen, like if you keep a slice of bread for few days, what happens? A grey kind of structure starts developing, okay. So that are spores, okay, or the Rhizopus that grows, that bread mold and all, those are the germs that starts growing, okay. So how does it grow? So the thread-like structures that develop on the bread, you have seen that, yes, in other hyphae of the bread mold are also known as Rhizopus, okay. So on the other hand, the tiny blob on a stick structures are involved in reproduction. You can see this birth kind of structure, it involves in reproduction, okay. So here also those are microscopic, we can't see by our naked eyes, but it has a bulb-like structures out there, okay. So what happens? So the blobs are sporangia which contains cells or spores. These blobs has spores inside it, okay. From those spores a new individuals or new Rhizopus can be developed. And the spores are covered by thick walls, okay, that protect them until they come into contact with another moist surface and can begin to grow. So until and unless they get a moist environment, the spores are protected within a thick structure. So once they get the moist condition, moisture is present, or they find the moist atmosphere, so what happens? The spores, it gets released, okay, and from that spores a new individual starts arising, okay. So this is the mode of asexual reproduction by spore formation. So next type of reproduction, asexual reproduction, is by vegetative propagation. So there are many plants in which parts like the root, stem and leaves, they develop into new plants, okay, under appropriate conditions. If they get some appropriate condition, the root it starts developing into a new individual, the leaf may start developing into a new individual or new plant, or even the stem may help in the development of or reproduction of new individuals. So this kind of reproduction is known as vegetative reproduction. So there are various advantages of vegetative reproduction. What are those? So plants raised by vegetative propagation can bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seeds, okay. Like generally new plants they develop from seeds, isn't it? We sow the seed on the soil and new plant it grows from the seed. So but with the help of vegetative reproduction, even the flowers and fruits, like plants can be raised by flowers, fruits and all, okay. Like plants that is raised with the help of vegetative reproduction, they can bear flowers and fruits. Like generally what happens, only the plant that grows with the help of seeds can only produce flowers and fruits, but by the help of vegetative reproduction, the plants that has been grown by this process can bear flowers and fruits. And such methods can also make possible the propagation of plants such as banana, orange, rose and jasmine. So all these plants have lost the capacity to produce seeds. Look, as I said, generally plants they grow from seeds only, yes, but some of these plants such as banana, orange, rose and all, so nowadays like they have lost the capacity or the capability to produce seeds. So for these plants vegetative propagation is very helpful, okay. And another advantages of vegetative propagation is that all plants produced are genetically similar to the parent plant. So all the plants, the genes of the parent plant will be similar to the genes of the daughter plants, okay. So first of all, we'll discuss about vegetative reproduction by leaf. Okay. So similarly, birds produce in the notches along the leaf. You can see leaf. This is Bryophyllum. Okay. So see, leaf has produced such structure. Those are the notch. They are the bird kind of structure, the notches of the leaf. Okay. So these individual bird can develop into a new plant. Okay. So when you put this part into the soil, so see, from one leaf has many bird kind of structure. So from one, a new plant can grow, from other a new plant can grow. Okay. So this is in case of Bryophyllum. So when these fall on the soil, they develop into a new plant. Next is by stem. So runners, like runners are a kind of plant. Okay. So runners are stems that grow horizontally above the ground. See, these are the stems known as runners. They can grow horizontally on the layer of the soil. And as the stems of the plants have nodes, you all know, yes. So the nodes, they start developing bud. Okay. So from that bud, when these nodes get contact with the soil, from that bud a new plant can grow. So they have nodes where buds are formed. Okay. So these buds now grow into a new plant. Next is by roots. Like new plants will grow out of swollen modified roots. These are the modified roots in case of dahlia and all. Okay. So these modified roots are also known as tubers. So birds develop at the base of the stem and then grow into new plants. So one plant has different buds, you can see, different tubers. So from one tube, a new individual plant can grow. From other tube, another plant can grow. So when you remove these tubers and then put it in the soil in different places, new plants can grow from there. So this is the vegetative propagation by roots. Next is by stem cutting. So cuttings are part of a plant, okay, that is cut off from the parent plant. So shoots with leaves attached are usually used. That is, shoots with leaves attached to it are usually used for this kind of reproduction. New roots and leaves will grow from the cuttings, okay, and then the shoot is cut at an angle. So for example, rose. You have seen, or maybe you have tried at home also. If you cut the stem of the rose plant and you put it on the soil, a new plant starts growing. Like the shoot, it starts developing roots and all once you put on the soil, isn't it? And then a new rose plant can grow from the parent or the stem of the parent plant. Next is by layering. So in layering, a shoot of a parent plant is bent. You can see a shoot of a parent plant is bent until it can be covered by soil, okay, and the shoot remains, the tip of the shoot, it remains above the ground, okay, and new roots and eventually a new plant will grow. See, a part of the shoot is there, it's touching the soil. So from there a new root starts developing and from the tip of the shoot a new plant arises, okay, or the new shoot arises. Next is grafting. So in grafting, two plants are involved, okay. So what happens is in grafting, two plants are used to develop a new plant with combined traits from the two parent plant. Like for example, one of the different plants have different traits, okay. Like for example, one of the same kind of plant, one may have good flowering, they may give good flowers, the other may have good root conditions and all. If you want both the features in one plant, what you can do, you can take the help of this method, grafting. So what happens in grafting, the scion is the above ground part, okay, of one plant. The scion is attached to the stalk. Stalk is the part of the plant that is like part of the root, okay, that is the second part. So scion can be combined or fixed with stalk of the plant, that is stem part will be attached to the root part, okay, and then they will be tied together and put on the soil, okay. From there a new plant will grow. Here you can see this plant has large flowers, this has large roots and all. So when you prepare a graft from this, that is a shoot part from this plant, a root part from this plant, you take it together, tie it, put it on the soil, you can get a hybrid kind of plant over there. Okay, that means the characteristic feature of both these plants will be there in this newly formed plant. That is, this will be the desirable trait. If you want both the characteristic of these plants, like this had maybe some good, it may give some good flowers, this may have some other good characteristic feature. If you want both the characteristic feature in one plant, so you can take the process of grafting. Okay, take the scion part of one plant, attach it with the stalk of the other plant, put it there on the soil. A new plant will be developed that will be having the characteristic feature of both the plants, that is the desired characteristic feature. This is the last one. Okay, the last process of vegetative reproduction is the tissue culture, and this tissue culture is performed in the laboratories. So what happens in this tissue culture? Plant tissues are taken. Okay, a small piece of plant tissue will be taken. The plant tissue is grown in artificial culture medium. Like this is not the soil, this is some chemicals and some other substances, artificial culture medium that have nutrients. Like as you all know, plants need nutrients to grow. So this culture medium have different nutrients. So small pieces of tissues will be put on this culture medium, and after some time you can see it will develop a group of tissues known as callus. Okay, so callus develops root and shoot after some time. Each callus, it is a mass of tissues. Okay, each callus will start developing root and shoot. Okay, and many plantlets grow from the mass of callus, and these plantlets from here, okay, you can take it outside, put it on the pot or put it on the soil on the ground, and from one callus, like from a group of callus, many plantlets grow, okay, from the mass of that callus, and these plantlets can be grown into the soil. Like from if you have like this kind of tissue culture, it helps in what? Disease free plants and all. It has many other disadvantages also that you will learn in your higher standards. So tissue culture is also one kind of or one mode of asexual reproduction. So I hope you have understood all these modes of asexual reproduction. Okay, kindly refer your book, thorough read the chapter so that you will get the precise understanding of the chapter. Okay, it's all for today. Thank you, students.